Your voice is your power. Never underestimate its impact. This simple yet profound truth is something many of us forget as we navigate through life's challenges. From a young age, we are taught to conform, to blend in, to not be a too louder or a too different. We are told to stay within the lines, to play it safe, to follow the crowd. But within each of us lies a voice, a unique, authentic, powerful voice that holds the key to not only our personal freedom, but also to the change we wish to see in the world. Your voice is not just the sound that escapes your lips when you speak. It is the expression of your soul, the echo of your truth, and the reflection of your inner world. It carries your story, your struggles, your victories, your beliefs, your dreams. And yet, many of us choose to remain silent. Not because we have nothing to say, but because we are afraid. Afraid of judgment. Afraid of rejection, afraid that our voice won't matter, that no one will listen, that we might be misunderstood, that silence, though it may feel safe, can be suffocating. It becomes a prison that holds back the best parts of who we are. Every time we silence ourselves to please others, we shrink a little. Every time we swallow our opinions out of fear, we give up a piece of our identity. Every time we choose comfort over courage, we miss a chance to grow. Muniba Mazari, a woman whose life is a testament to resilience, chose to use her voice despite the pain, despite the limitations, despite the fear. After surviving a tragic car accident that left her paralyzed, she could have easily given in to despair. She could have chosen to remain silent. But she didn't. She spoke, she painted, she shared, and in doing so, she touched hearts, changed minds, and inspired millions. Her voice became louder than her fears. It became the light for those lost in darkness. That's the power your voice can hold. Your voice has the ability to bring healing, not just to others, but to yourself. When you speak your truth, you release the weight of what you've carried in silence. You allow your pain to breathe, your dreams to fly, and your spirit to rise. Speaking up can be terrifying, yes. But it is also liberating. It is an act of defiance against fear. It is a declaration that says, I will not be silenced by pain. I will not be defined by fear. So many people are waiting to hear a voice like yours, a voice that tells them they are not alone, that it's okay to struggle, that it's possible to rise again. But they will never hear it if you remain silent. Your story, your message, your presence, it matters. It matters more than you know. You don't have to be famous or perfect or loud to make a difference. You just have to be real, be honest, be you. Think of the people who have impacted your life the most. Chances are they weren't perfect. They were just courageous enough to be vulnerable, to speak from the heart, to show up with honesty even when it was hard. That's what your voice can do. It can spark hope. It can ignite change. It can move people, but only if you dare to use it. We live in a world where there is so much noise, yet so little truth, so many opinions, yet so little authenticity. This is why your voice is needed more than ever. Not a voice that echoes the crowd, but a voice that reflects your truth. The world doesn't need more people who just go along with the flow. It needs more people who are willing to stand up, speak out, and make waves. You might think, who am I to speak up? What difference can I make? But that question has kept too many people silent for far too long. You are someone with a story that only you can tell, with a perspective shaped by your unique journey, with experiences that no one else has lived. That alone gives your voice value. That alone makes you powerful. There will be moments when your voice trembles, when you feel unsure, when fear tries to pull you back into silence. But in those moments, remember that your voice is not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be true. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with truth, with sincerity, with heart. Your voice can be a protest, a poem, a prayer. It can be a whisper of encouragement or a roar of revolution. It can be a soft reminder that you matter or a bold statement that challenges the norm. However you choose to use it, let it be yours. Let it be honest. Let it be loud enough to drown out the doubt and strong enough to rise above the fear. So, speak up, even if your voice shakes. Even if your hands tremble, even if you don't have all the answers, speak up because your silence serves no one, not even you. Speak up because someone, somewhere, is waiting to hear the words only you can say. Speak up because you are not born to be silent. You were born to be seen, to be heard, to be felt. And when you begin to speak your truth, you'll notice something incredible. Your voice will begin to shape your world. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you honor it, the more it honors you. And the more you trust it, the more others will be inspired to find their own.
Fear thrives in silence. Break it with courage. This is not just a phrase. It's a truth that defines the journey of anyone who has ever been held back by doubt, shame, or uncertainty. Fear is not always loud and dramatic. Often it creeps in quietly, wrapping itself around our dreams, whispering lies that we're not good enough, not strong enough, not ready. It convinces us to stay in the shadows, to stay small, to stay silent. But the longer we stay quiet, the stronger fear becomes. Silence gives fear power. And the only way to weaken it is by choosing courage, by speaking, by stepping forward, by breaking the silence. We've all faced moments where fear tried to paralyze us. Maybe it was the fear of failure, of judgment, of rejection. Maybe it was the fear of not being accepted for who we truly are. In those moments, the safest choice often feels like silence. It feels easier to stay quiet than to risk being misunderstood or criticized. But here's what fear doesn't want you to know. Silence doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. It keeps you stuck in a place where growth can't happen, where dreams wither away, where your true self is hidden beneath layers of what-ifs. When Muniba Mazari chose to speak out about her story, she wasn't fearless, she was brave. She had every reason to hide her pain, to let her silence be a shield. After all, life had thrown unimaginable challenges her way. But instead of letting fear define her, she broke the silence. She shared her truths. She stood on stages with trembling legs but a steady heart. Her voice became the very tool that helped her reclaim her power. That's what courage does. It doesn't erase fear, it rises above it. There's a common misconception that courage means the absence of fear. But in reality, courage is born in the presence of fear. It's that quiet voice that says, "Oh, do it anyway." Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just a whisper that urges you to speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. It's in those moments when you choose to act despite fear that real transformation begins. That's when walls start to crumble. That's when you take your power back. Fear thrives in the silence of unspoken dreams, unheard truths, and untold stories. Every time you choose to keep your voice hidden, you're feeding that fear. You're letting it grow roots in your mind, in your heart, in your life. But when you begin to speak, when you dare to express what's real inside you, something shifts. Fear starts to shrink. It loses its grip. Your courage begins to take its place. Think about the times in your life when fear held you back. Maybe you wanted to share an idea but stayed quiet in the room. Maybe you wanted to tell someone how much they hurt you, but you chose silence instead. Maybe you had a dream that you buried because you were afraid of what others would say. We all have those moments. But they don't have to define us. The past might be full of silence, but the future is still unwritten. And every word you speak in courage writes a new chapter. One where fear no longer gets the final say. There is something incredibly powerful about giving yourself permission to be heard. It's not about shouting or being the loudest in the room. It's about standing in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about showing up for yourself, choosing to value your voice enough to use it. Because the moment you do, you're no longer a victim of fear. You become its challenger. Its breaker, its end. And here's the beautiful thing about breaking the silence. You give others permission to do the same. When you speak up, when you live out loud, you become a mirror for others to see what's possible. Your courage creates a ripple. Someone hears your story and finds the strength to share theirs. Someone sees your bravery and finds the fire to confront their own fear. This is how change begins, not with grand gestures, but with brave voices willing to be heard. Sometimes we wait for the perfect moment to be courageous. We think we need to feel confident first, to have all the answers, to be fully prepared. But the truth is, courage doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It creates it. The moment you decide to act, even in fear, becomes the moment everything starts to shift. You don't need to be ready. You just need to be willing. Willing to be uncomfortable. Willing to be vulnerable. Willing to break the silence. It's easy to underestimate the power of a single act of courage. But never forget that even the smallest act, speaking up in a room, standing up for yourself, asking for help, saying, "Oh no, when it's hard," can be revolutionary. These are not small things. They are powerful declarations that you will not be ruled by fear, but fear. They are the cracks in the armor of silence that let light in. Courage doesn't come from waiting until you feel brave. It comes from doing the thing anyway. From choosing to speak, to move, to try, even when fear is screaming. And with every step you take, courage grows, your voice grows. Your impact grows. And fear, it begins to lose its power. When you choose to break your silence, you're not just freeing yourself. You're breaking the cycle. You're telling fear that it doesn't control you anymore, that your dreams, your truth, your purpose are louder than your doubts. You begin to lead your life not from a place of fear, but from a place of freedom. And that, more than anything, is where true strength begins. When you speak your truth, you inspire others to find theirs. There is something deeply powerful about authenticity. In a world where so many are hiding behind masks, filters, and carefully crafted versions of themselves, your truth becomes a rare and radiant light. It becomes a permission slip for others to take off their own masks and stand in the rawness of who they truly are. Speaking your truth is not about being loud or trying to prove a point. It's about being real. It's about honoring your story, your journey, your experiences, and allowing them to breathe in a world that often asks us to shrink. Every single person carries within them a story that has the power to touch hearts and change lives. But too often, those stories remain untold. Not because they don't matter, but because we convince ourselves that they are not enough. We fear that our pain will be seen as weakness, our failures will be judged, our struggles will be misunderstood, so we keep quiet. We tell ourselves that someone else can say it better, that someone else is more qualified, more worthy, more powerful. But the truth is, no one else can tell your story the way you can. And when you finally find the courage to share it, something incredible happens. You begin to unlock doors, not just for yourself, but for others. Think of the moments in your life when someone's words moved you, when a speaker's vulnerability made you feel seen, when a friend's honesty helped you through a dark season. That power came not from perfection, but from truth. From someone choosing to stand in their story, flaws and all, and speak from the heart. That is the kind of courage that changes lives. That is the kind of truth that resonates beyond the noise. When you speak your truth, you break the illusion that everyone has it all figured out. You remind people that it's okay to be human, that it's okay to have scars, to have stumbled, to still be finding your way. You create space for authenticity. You create space for healing. Because the truth has a way of cutting through the surface and reaching the soul. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be honest. Muniba Mazari, in all her grace and strength, exemplifies this beautifully. She never pretends to be someone she's not. She doesn't hide her struggles or sugarcoat her pain. She speaks from a place of deep truth. And because of that, people listen. They don't just hear her, they feel her. Her voice becomes a mirror for others to look at themselves and say, if she can rise, maybe I can too. That is the power of truth. It plants seeds of hope in places where hopelessness once lived. Truth is magnetic. When you speak from a place of authenticity, you don't need to shout to be heard. People are naturally drawn to those who are real, because realness is rare. It cuts through the noise of pretense and speaks directly to the heart. It says, this is me, not perfect, not polished, but real. And that realness creates connection. It creates trust. It creates transformation. So many people walk through life carrying silent battles. They smile on the outside, but ache on the inside. They feel like they're the only ones struggling the all together. But when you speak your truth, you become a light in that darkness. You show them that they are not alone, that someone else has walked a similar road and made it through. And in doing so, you offer something priceless, hope. Your truth doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be dramatic or filled with perfect words. It just needs to be yours, unfiltered, unapologetic. When you speak from the heart, your message reaches where logic can't. It touches something deeper. It reminds people that they too have a voice and that their voice matters. One of the most beautiful things about speaking your truth is that it gives others the courage to do the same. It starts a ripple effect. Someone hears your story and thinks, or maybe I can tell mine. Someone sees your vulnerability and thinks, or maybe it's safe for me to be real too. Or could it a spark that lights a fire in someone else? And that fire spreads. That fire changes lives. We often underestimate the impact our words can have. A single sentence, single moment of honesty can be the breakthrough someone else needed. You never know who is listening. You never know who's been waiting for a message only you can deliver. That's why your voice, your truth, your story, it all matters more than you think. Being honest about your journey doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. It shows that you face the storms, and instead of hiding the rain, you've chosen to dance in it. It shows that you've embraced your imperfections, and instead of burying your pain, you've turned it into purpose. That kind of truth is magnetic. That kind of truth is powerful. When you live and speak in truth, you give others permission to let go of shame, to stop pretending, to start healing, to begin showing up as their real selves. Because truth is not just something you say, it's something you live. And when you live it boldly, you become a lighthouse for others who are lost in the fog of fear and self-doubt. Truth doesn't promise ease. It promises freedom. It promises connection. It promises purpose. And when you speak it again and again, even when it's hard, even when your voice shakes, you become a reminder that authenticity is not a weakness. It is your greatest strength.